It's time for What's in the Public Domain, presented by Project Gutenberg. This episode, we're talking about the Big Four. Agatha Christie is well known for her mystery novels and short stories. Who knew that she would be wrapped up in a mystery of her own? Christie was under contract with her publisher, the Bodley Head, for a total of 5 books. By the end of the contract, tensions were building in her marriage. Her latest submission to the publisher was rejected. James Zemboy, in his book The Detective Novels of Agatha Christie, A Reader's Guide, theorizes that the rejected book was in fact the Big Four. Christie needed a break, and rather than write another detective novel, she wrote The Secret of Chimneys, which she describes in her autobiography as an adventure story and much easier to write than a detective story. The Bodley Head reluctantly published the book, ending the contract and allowing Christie to pursue another publisher. Zemboy further theorized that Christie likely wanted to make a good impression with her new publisher, William Collins & Sons, and rather than give them the already written The Big Four, wrote a new Poirot mystery called The Murder of Roger Ackroyd. Published in 1926, this first outing with the new publisher was a moderate success, but that year brought a lot of heartache as well. Christie was very close with her mother, and losing her in early 1926 devastated her. In August of that year, Christie's husband Archibald asked for a divorce, saying that he'd fallen in love with a woman named Nancy Neal. Things came to a head on December 3rd when Agatha and Archie had a huge fight after he had announced his plan to spend the weekend with friends, unaccompanied by his wife. Late that evening, Agatha disappeared from her home. The disappearance made headlines, and despite an extensive manhunt, Christie was not found until December 14th, having no memory of what had happened. 2 doctors even diagnosed her with an unquestionable genuine loss of memory. Only 3 weeks after her disappearance, The Big Four was published. Because of the publicity of the preceding events, sales of The Big Four more than doubled that of The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, though most fans today agree that The Murder of Roger Ackroyd is a much better book. In 1942, Christie wrote to her agent, Edmund Cork of Hughes Massey, asking him to keep a manuscript in reserve, most likely Sleeping Murder, and stated, "I have been once in a position where I wanted to write just for the sake of money coming in, and when I felt I couldn't, it is a nerve-wracking feeling. If I had one MS up my sleeve, it would have made a big difference. That was the time I had to produce that rotten book, The Big Four, and had to force myself in The Mystery of the Blue Train." The Big Four was not written whole cloth as a new novel. Rather, it was a compilation of Christie's Poirot short stories that she'd written for the magazine The Sketch. Christie's brother-in-law, Campbell Christie, helped her revise the beginnings and ends of the stories to make them flow better into a novel, the substance of each story remaining the same between the short story and novel versions. Though not all of Agatha Christie's books are in the public domain, you can find a series of them that are on the Project Gutenberg website. Download them for free by going to gutenberg.org/ebooks/author/451. To read the Big Four, go to gutenberg.org/ebooks/70114. Project Gutenberg is an online library of free ebooks. It was the first provider of free electronic books, or ebooks. Michael Hart, founder of Project Gutenberg, invented ebooks in 1971, and his memory continues to inspire the creation of ebooks and related content today. What is a public domain book? A public domain book is a book with no copyright, a book that was created without a license, or a book where its copyrights expired or have been forfeited. In most countries, the term of protection of copyright expires on the first day of January, 70 years after the death of the latest living author. A notable exception is the United States, where every book and tale published before 1928 is in the public domain. American copyrights last for 95 years for books originally published between 1928 and 1978, if the copyright was properly registered and maintained. Project Gutenberg only accepts works that are in the public domain in the United States. Generally, new submissions to Project Gutenberg are digitized versions of printed books, most of which were published at least 95 years ago. Collection development focuses on literature and other written works that have enduring value for readers. Selections are made by volunteers with diverse interests, and essentially all eligible submissions are welcome. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on What's in the Public Domain, presented by Project Gutenberg.